The Autistic Radio Conference Tour 2025 is a co-production with BILD, the Restraint Reduction Network, and Autistic Association. We are open to co-productions with professional organisations where our ethics and interests coincide and align. This short series of short podcasts demonstrate cooperations that are possible, recordings with people at the conference, speaking openly, clearly, with equity in the communication.
Hello there. Can I just ask you to say who you are and where you're from?
I'm Steve Brown. I am the PBS lead for the qualifications at BILD.
I've just taken you from a stand outside. What's that stand there for?
We are looking to give information to delegates at the conference on our charities that we've got. So there are a couple of charities all under the sort of the banner of BILD. We've got obviously BILD with the training and workforce development stuff. We have Respond, who is a new charity to BILD, looking at how trauma affects people. And obviously we've got the RRN stand as well, again promoting reduction and restraint. And obviously we've got BILD Act, who are across from us as well. So we've got the four charities represented here. And a lot of it is to try and share information about listening to people, what their stories are, and trying to help people improve people's quality of life.
So how does a charity do that in a practical way?
A lot of it is understanding what's happening for individuals, maybe in their home or in a particular service somebody might be in. We look at how we can improve practice by helping people understand what that should look like. Obviously, we're talking a lot about restraint reduction and how we can implement that across lots of environments that people are living in currently, and what should happen for people. So thinking about people's rights and how we can protect those, making sure that people are aware about what's going on. Certainly there's lots of talk around today around how restrictive practice is visible in communities and how that can be stopped as well. So we do lots of information sharing. For me in particular, we're looking at how we can promote training within organisations and get people actually competent at delivering some of those services better with proper competency checks.
So now I understand. You're the people who teach the people to use restraint appropriately rather than as the go-to intervention.
Well, we don't teach people restraint. So one things we try to avoid at BILD is make sure people don't use restraint. And we look at more proactive strategies and interventions for people before we get to that point. So what we don't do is promote restraint at all at BILD. It's one of the things that we don't do. But we try and show people, and I wouldn't call it teaching. It's more about mentoring and coaching people in better practices that can proactively support somebody so that they don't need to be restrained. So a lot of the things around restraint is where people have hit a crisis point where they may become, a danger to themselves. It could injure themselves or injure other people. And that's the point people start to get restrained. What we do is look at how we can positively, proactively support people before they get to that stage, to making people have got good environments that are around, that staff who are supporting them understand what's going on, and we can support people safely. So that we minimise and reduce restrictive practices and definitely reduce and stop using restraint.
So it's about making restraint unnecessary from the beginning then?
Yes, that's the ultimate goal, is to make it that it's not working. But we understand, when people are restrained, it doesn't fix anything. It causes a lot of trauma for the individual and that particular person. It's not good for people who are doing it either. So we want to make sure we better equip people with information about how they can support somebody without using restraint.
You've said the word trauma a number of times.
Yes. I think what we need to understand is if we are putting our hands on another person, that actually causes a scarring of that individual, and it causes a trauma to that person and the people who are doing it as well. And that's a very difficult thing to remove and to take away from somebody once that's happened. So we want to try and make sure people are better equipped so they understand what that impact can be on that individual. You know, if you are physically restraining somebody, you are going to cause that person some trauma. And that's a very difficult thing to remove once that's taken place.
Wow. I notice here today that there's a lot of neurodivergent people who are also professionals. Is it necessary to go beyond their lived experience? Because surely if you've already got professionals who understand their autism or their other neurodivergence from the inside, why go to the general public and look for more examples?
I think, I mean, we live in a more diverse society now, and I think it's great that people with lived experience are getting more involved in some professional practices around what we do. I think society, again, is still a little bit sort of lacking behind about where we are, certainly within social care. I think it's about understanding everybody's perspectives, and being. I think we need, there's been a lot of shift in society at the moment. We've lost some of that tolerance around different cultures and backgrounds about what people do independently. And I think we do need to get a wide variety of thoughts and opinions into practice. I think, yeah, we've got to get a lot of people involved who've got lived experience, not just obviously people who are neurodiverse, but obviously people with learning disabilities, people with physical disabilities as well, and understand what that is for them, what works for them. But not just listening to single people's voices, get everybody involved in that process.
It's almost as though you're asking for people to advocate for themselves.
Yes, definitely. And I think that's the big, people need to stand up and tell us what they want. How do you want your day? How do you want your life? What's quality of life for you? And we're all different. Quality of life's very subjective, and everybody has their own individual, idiosyncrasies that they want in life, and therefore we've got to listen to those people, so we can provide a better society for people to fit into.
But the people you're asking to advocate yourselves, you recognise may have experienced trauma themselves. So there's a difficulty, isn't there?
There is a difficulty, and we've got to understand, we don't want people's trauma to be continually re-triggered, and we need to be really mindful of that when people are, getting into practices where they're talking to other people. We've got to be really careful that we don't keep re-triggering that for people, and people need to have the right level of support, allow people time out so them to re-regulate themselves and understand where they are really. And sometimes people will need quite a long time to get back into a good stable position. But yeah, we need to be more mindful about what's going on for individuals and how they are affected individually and personally.
We have an audience that's made up mostly of two groups, neurodivergent people and professionals listening to podcasts made with other professionals. Is there a message to send to each of those two groups from this conference?
Well, I think, be respectful of each other, listen to each other. Don't be judgmental about what's going on for other people. And remember, everybody's an individual and everybody has their own thing, plans of what they want to do themselves, and just be mindful of that. Don't impose your ideas or try to impose your ideas on other people, because they're not always fitting for that person. And just be respectful of each other's space, and each other's thoughts, really.
Are you speaking to the neurodivergent group in that, or just to the professional group?
That's to everybody, I think. I think it's about understanding that we've all got our own thoughts and opinions, and, you know, we want to work better and live to better as a more tolerant society. And that's for everybody, to be mindful of that for everybody.
It's lovely that you're one of the professionals here amongst a whole group of professionals that are working to reduce the use of restraint. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
How did you go? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, well, good.
We speak. Our words. We listen.
We speak. Our words. We listen.
We speak. Our words. We listen.
We speak. Our words. We listen.